So today we are looking at constructing a network diagram given an activity chart. Now we haven't really talked too much about network diagrams because I haven't covered that course just yet. So I'll try to fill in some of the gaps basically as we go for some of the key terminology. But as you'll be able to see from here, we're basically just taking activity charts and drawing these connections between these different tasks and activities. And hopefully the process will be quite intuitive for you as we go. But I've written 2 dot points here. One is that the activities we have with no immediate predecessors follow from the start vertex. So think about starting any task or any project. You have to begin at the beginning. So somewhere like this, we talked about this last video, here activity A in this example has this dash through it, which means that it has no immediate predecessor. Nothing came before it, so that means it must be the first thing. Now it also says that activities that are not immediate predecessors for other activities lead to the finish vertex. So H here, it's not the immediate predecessor to anything else. This is actually our last activity, so this is where our project will finish. When we talk about this word vertex, this is going to represent each of these activities as points on what we call our network diagram, which is just going to be all of these points just connected with lines. I'll just say that for now. There's obviously terminology with this once we get to the actual networks topic. But if we just start to kind of draw this, when we talk about network diagram, this just means showing all of this information, showing these activities as points, and basically connecting them in the order that the activity diagram, the activity chart has shown us, right? So there's 2 ways we can do this. We can start from the end, or we can start from the beginning. And both ways are valid, and I'll run you through how we can do this with both of these here. Now, for the first one, I'm going to start from the finish. So the very last activity here, where we're ending, is going to be my H over here. Now, I'm going to show this by writing finish down the end. So this point here is where my project is done. As we looked at in the previous video, for example, catching a train, the act of actually boarding the train was the very last step. So here our activity H is going to lead to the completion of this project. I'm going to draw this arrow here to indicate the direction. So H is my task that connects my 2 vertices here, my 2 points. Now, we want to work backwards. So we're going to say, well, what are the immediate predecessors to H? And we can see here, all of these 3 tasks have to be done in order to get us to H. So if I connect this, this means there's going to be 3 tasks which connect to my task H. And I'm going to draw them in here. Now, one of these is my task E, one of them is F, and one of them is G. I'm going to write them alongside these lines. Now, the arrows indicate the direction, so we're going from left to right, basically. We are flowing in the direction towards the finish line from some start line. And I'll show you this once we get our bigger picture. Now, we keep going. So we have all of our vertices here. Now, E, we have an immediate predecessor, which is B, but let's actually we'll work through these ones, G, F, E. We'll kind of go in this reverse order that we talked about. So if we look at G, it's saying it has a predecessor, which is D. So its immediate thing that happens before it is going to be activity D. So I'm going to just draw, and the important thing about when we draw these can look however we want, so long as the relevant points are connected. So before G, D had to have happened. It connects to another vertex on our network diagram. Now before F, C was done. And if we look as well here, actually let's just draw this in. So F is going to go to C. Now, working our way backwards, we've covered F here. Now, from C, we'll notice that both, the reason you may be thinking, well, why are C and D connecting basically the same vertex? It's because they have a common predecessor. A happens before both C and D, if we can kind of see that here. So C and D both follow on from A. So if I draw working backwards again, let's just draw it to somewhere else. This is my task A. And we'll notice here that task B is an immediate predecessor to E. And A is an immediate predecessor to B as well. So from this vertex over here, our B, C, and D are going to branch out of there. Okay, so B is an immediate predecessor to E. So I'm going to draw this, and it's got to connect to this vertex over here. So this is my task B. Now we can see from here, we've successfully identified all of these points and drawn them in. Now this is when we work backwards. Some of you may be finding this confusing. You can also work from the start as well. And A, as we see, has no immediate predecessors, so this must be the start over here. We can clearly see here that A branches off from the start. From A, we get B, C, D. From B follows to E. From C follows F. From D follows G. And all of these meet together, and E, F, and G are immediate predecessors to H. Now we can do this in another way if we say began at the start. So this is, let's call this the working backwards approach. We'll go working from the finish. And let's do another one where we are working from the start. So we're going to do the exact same thing. Now we know what to expect because we've got this network diagram over here, but let's just imagine that we were doing the question again. We're going to start from a point here. Let's call this the starting point. And from this point, A is my first task. So I'm going to draw in my A. This is task A. It connects to another vertex. Now from A, we get three things branching out from A: B, C, D. So from this point, we can draw three different things. So B, C, and down the bottom here, we're going to have D. So all of these tasks, all of these activities follow on from A. As you can see, A is my starting point, and it's the immediate predecessor, so it happens before B, C, and D. So in order for any of these tasks, B, C, and D, to happen, A had to have happened first. That's why they're all branching out from this same vertex. Now if I clear all this, we'll continue. Now from B, we continue on to E, because B is an immediate predecessor to E here. So coming out from this vertex that B connected to, we're going to go to E, drawing in another arrow to show that these are connecting. From C, we are going to F, because C is an immediate predecessor to F. Oops, let's fix that up. And D is an immediate predecessor to G. We're going to write here G. Now, what we're going to do here is that all of these here are immediate predecessors to H. So some of you may have picked up on an error that I've done, and I've made this kind of on purpose so you can always go back and make tweaks to your network diagram. When you're initially doing this, it's quite hard to get your head around it, but when we work through, we can see that in order for H to happen, which is, say, here, the task right up to the end, so we have our finish, and we have task H, All of these things are immediate predecessors to H. So all of these points here, 1, 2, 3, they have to connect up to H because our network diagram has to have all of our points connecting, all of our vertices connecting. So let's just rub this out a little bit. We'll fix this. And all of these tasks, E, F, and G, are going to connect to H because they're immediate predecessors to H. And we can pretty clearly see the exact same information is being conveyed here. Now, with our network diagrams, they can look quite different. For example, this one, they don't look identical, but they're still conveying the same information if I zoom out here a little bit. So you can still see A is the immediate predecessor to B, C, D. We can see this in both diagrams. B, C, and D are the immediate predecessors to E, F, and G, respectively. And E, F, and G all connect together to be the immediate predecessors to our point H, which leads us to the finish. So we connect all of these parts here. Our activities are what goes along the branches, these edges of our network diagram. These are my activities, and they lead us from the start of the project to the end of the project. That brings us to the end of the video. This is how we can draw up these network diagrams and kind of visually show these activity charts, which will be easier to interpret as we will see later. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.